Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Detroit Sports Sit Down. My name is Tom Murphy Jr. I have Joe Perry and Dan Murphy here with me, and it's been a long time. It feels like forever, people. It feels like forever. We've been off for a little while. We're getting our things together. We're really excited to be back. A little bit of a hiatus, but today we're gonna fire things back up and talk about all the stuff that's been happening over the past couple weeks that we've been absent out of your lives.
Couple months.
Months, maybe. Yeah, it sounds better when you say weeks, I think. But time goes fast, man. The summer, it's blowing by. Not if you're an everyday Tigers fan. That's for sure. It's not this summer isn't really blowing by. But for us, we took some time off, but we are back, and we're going to be back regularly scheduled programming going forward. It's the Detroit Sports Sit Down. Today, what we want to do is just catch up. We want to catch up with ourselves. We want to catch up with all you guys, listening out there on the internet, and just talk about what's been going on the past couple months in Detroit sports. And unfortunately, it's not much. Not
much in terms of good news.
Not much good news, man. The state of Detroit sports is in peril right now, and it's could be a big part of the reason why we took a little time off. That that's not the most professional thing. Like you gotta, it's not like 97 won the tickets. Just gonna be like, we're just not gonna talk sports.
They packed their vacations all in this time. I think.
They gear up for football season.
That's for sure. But fellas, welcome back, Dan, Joe. I think let's talk about what's going on right now as far as the live sports that's going on right now is the Tigers. So they're the ones that are actually playing.
Attempting to.
They're attempting to play games. They are, and this is actually pretty shocking. Even we knew the Tigers were not going to be good, right? We could all agree on that. Nobody was putting money on them to win the World Series, right? I did not think that they would be the worst team in baseball.
I thought there was a chance, but how they started, they showed defense and pitching looked decent at the beginning of the year, so it looked like they had a chance, but
a chance to what? Not be the worst team in baseball, right?
Exactly. To be 500, maybe something like that. But
in that first month, they were hovering around 500, and things seemed to be all right. But man, this is. Now, at this point, are you starting to blame Ron Gardenhire at all, or is he just like the patsy here, where there's nothing really he can do? Because I was very excited when Ron Gardenhire was hired as the manager, and I really thought, man, maybe he could do what he did with the twin, a small payroll, younger guys, stuff like this. But it's just not happening here.
It's definitely not his fault.
It doesn't matter who they put in.
Whose fault is it? Like, are we cursing Dombrowski for leaving this team high and dry, and then everything just collapsing? Is it the ownership now that Mr. I has passed on, and it doesn't seem like ownership even wants to succeed because they don't want to spend the money, and in fact they might be gearing up to sell the team? Are we blaming the actual players that are on this team, or are they just in? Is there a lot of these guys that are just in over their heads, or is it just a perfect storm of just bad?
I think this is what a rebuild is in baseball now. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is. When they traded Justin Verlander, they made the decision at that point that this is going to be a rebuild, and it's going to be a very painful, long rebuild. And that's how it works in baseball now, unfortunately. You look at what the Houston Astros did, they did the same exact thing. It took them about 4 to 5 years of just 100 lost seasons year after year after year, horrible baseball no one wanted to watch. They got prospect after prospect after prospect, and then they became World Series champions. Now, I'm not saying the Tigers are going to be World Series champions in 5 years, but that's the model that teams are taking now.
Is this the model that they're doing, or is this more of a Miami Marlins route here, where they're just going to always be bad and just trade players / payroll and just not be good, because now you don't have the ownership that desperately wants that World Series ring. It seems as though Chris Ilitch he only cares about the money aspect right now,
but money comes with winning.
Much,
though.
I'm sure.
But money comes with winning. So the Miami Marlins strategy was you built it up, you tore it all down, you got all these prospects, and then as soon as you won it, then you sold everybody off again, and then you sucked again. The Tigers model they've never come back now. It's like the Marlins, what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They built it up as soon as they won the championship, then they tore it right back down again. Yeah. They never let it a chance to, become possibly a dynasty. They just tore it down right away. That's not what the Tigers are planning on doing. They realized they reached to an end. The window was closed, so they sold everybody off. Try to get as many prospects as they can. They can't sell Zimmerman or Cabrera. They can't. Okay, but they sold everybody else they could to go on a full-out rebuild. It's going to take probably 4 to 5 years. Once they get to the point where these prospects are starting to come into the major leagues and they show something, that's the point where you start going out and getting some veterans to build around them. That's the model. That's how you do this. Yeah. That's when you spend the money. You can go out and get veterans to surround the young, promising prospects that are finally coming to fruition. Yeah. But at that point, you keep it going. Yeah. So those are the guys you ride on, the 22, 23-year-olds, and then those guys should be in your system. You should be 10 to 12 years. So those guys should be your core guys, and you should have a 10 to 12-year run, just like they just came off of.
Yeah. So right now, with this trade deadline approaching, but it's 10 days away or something there's a lot of talk about Shane Green, Matt Boyd, and Nick Castellanos. These are 3 players that actually have value. Castellanos, he really only has value as a hitter, but I'm hearing stuff about the Cubs are interested, a couple more teams. Matt Boyd, team control for the next, I think it's 2 to 3 years. Maybe.
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years under team control.
I think 2 more years after this one.
Yeah. As left-handed pitcher who's really coming into his own. He's just starting to hit his prime here. What do you do with Matt Boyd? I mean, Castellanos, if you can get something for him, he seems just going to. We're going to talk about him in just a moment. And Shane Green,
You absolutely saw Shane Green.
He's at his peak.
Yeah,
you got to trade.
You got to get the most you can for him.
What the hell do you need a closer for when you're the worst team in baseball?
Exactly.
Plus
So you get whatever you can for I think Castellanos or Shane Green. But Matt Boyd is an interesting situation for a couple of reasons. One, he's unique in that, like I said, he's under team control for another 2-3 years. If the Tigers are going to be rebuilding for the next 3 to 4 years, you might as well try to get what you can for him right now. And especially when you look at Michael Fulmer, with what happened with Fulmer, where last year or 2 years ago you could have got almost the moon for Michael Fulmer, but the Tigers, they decided to hang on, and then what happens next? Blows his arm out, Tommy John surgery. So you got to look at risk versus reward with keeping guys or trading them at these when they're young. Young arms, they're very valuable, but you never know what's going to happen. So the Tigers, are they going to make the same mistake right now
as Fulmer does?
Yeah, but I'm just saying with pitchers, you never know what's going to happen. But do you trade a guy when he's at his peak value?
I don't think he's at his peak value, though, right now,
Boyd? Yeah. I absolutely think he is.
I don't think he is. He's not having that great of a season. I mean, I know he's on an awful team, but I don't think he's at his peak right now. I think you have to get something good for him in order to trade him.
I think he's at his peak in terms of value. He's
at his value,
in value in general because he's cheap. Because he's cheap
too,
and he's got 2 years added on to the rest of this one.
Yeah.
So he's really got 3 seasons left for almost nothing, for very cheap.
Yeah.
So in terms of just pure value, this is probably his peak. Is it his peak in terms of how good he's going to be? Yeah, he's probably going to improve from what he is right now. But in terms of just value, he's never going to be probably more valuable than he is right now.
And so are the Tigers right for asking a king's ransom for him?
I would.
That's how you should start. Yeah. That's how you should start any trade, and then you work down from there.
Do you guys trust Al
Not really.
Avila to make a good deal? Has he shown any type of
promise?
Or just competence, man. like that he's good at his job. Now he's he's just like taking direct orders from ownership on these certain things that he's doing. But he quietly he got re-signed for another. He got a 2-year extension when he's already got a year left. And they did it on, was it like a Friday? It was the Friday
holiday.
Yeah, it was a holiday weekend.
Wow.
Man. See, I think that's why the Tigers did it when they did.
Was it the...
It was the July 5th.
No way, it was July 5th?
Yeah, it was the 4th of July weekend on like 5 o'clock on a Friday.
Honestly, I've never even seen that.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't even hear about it, and that's why they...
Wow.
That's why they did that.
Yeah,
I think
that's the worst time.
It would have made a lot of people. It would have made a lot of people sad because there's a lot of people that aren't happy with the way things are going right now. And then so they quietly re-signed him because, I wonder if it's just because this is what the Tigers are right now. They like Chris Ilitch is making up for all the lost revenue or whatever. There are all the money that was pumped into the Tigers to get a World Series ring that never happened, and now they're backtracking and just saying we're holding up. We're not the Yankees, we're not the Dodgers, we're not the Red Sox. They're
just kind of they're just like dancing, rebuilding. I think they'll eventually get to that point.
I'm scared about this though. I'm scared that
the fact that
we're never going to get back to the Tigers of great.
We'll get back.
I get worried about it with the way things are going. I don't see the.
Well, we're the worst team in baseball.
I don't see the desire to win right now, and I don't see like.
Well, that's
the rebuild actually happening. Because if we're in this big rebuild and we're trading all these players, who's actually showing promise right now?
There isn't any hitters.
Yeah, nobody. You're right.
There isn't any hitters, but that goes back to something we're going to talk about in a minute when we talk about Castellanos and the fact that you got to get some hitters, but you can build your team around pitching, defense, and speed, which is what they should have been doing since the day one that they built Comerica Park.
Yeah. And let's go. Yeah, we'll switch to that because so I think we know that like, all right. So with Matt Boyd and Shane Green, you guys agree that they should be traded at the deadline.
I think they should be traded, but Boyd, you just can't give him away for nothing. You got to get good prospects.
Like I said, he's
other two.
He's got all kinds
get
of value
whatever you can for him right now because I think you'll get a good something for Shane Green.
There's probably 10 teams interested in Boyd right now. I bet there's at least 10 teams that want to give up. But here comes the poker game,
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust Avila to play the poker game either.
Yeah.
That worries me. But this is what we got. We got it. Man, we were riding high. We didn't get the ring, as a fan I'm speaking. When I say we, I mean we as Tiger fans we didn't get the ring that we so wanted and so really deserved, man. Because God, it was a good 10-year run, man. It really was, in high pressure games, the ballpark packed every day. We didn't get it, but we got a lot of good baseball. So, but now I fear that this is going to be like the late 90s to early 2000s.
It ruins. It ruins our summers. Obviously it's nice to have nice weather and everything, but you're not excited about sports right now.
Like today, I was thinking about going to the game. I wanted to go to the game today just to, because it's Tigers Phillies, and that would have been fun to go down and see Bryce Harper, but it's just to me it's like, man, like I'm only mildly excited to go down there. We went to opening day. That was fun, and I haven't been to a game since this year. And I just there's no excitement. There's no reason to go down there unless you just want to go spend a day at the ballpark, man. Like there's no reason
go out to dinner
for this team
down there. If you do more things than go to the game,
go pick up $6 tickets on StubHub and go down there for a couple innings, dude. Just to be there. Then go walk around Greektown and like that. That's the day now. It's not. Oh my God, Tigers, Yankees, man. So and so's pitching for so and so, man. You got to get down here. Like Tigers are only 2.5 games up right now. Over like you got to get down. Like,
and then not only that, but you're excited for your own team. But then you're scoreboard watching. You're checking out other teams, seeing what they're doing, rooting for them to lose, and you're disappointed if they win. And it's fun. It's exciting. We don't have it.
Yeah, and
we just don't have it.
How fun is trade deadline when your team is buyer? When your team's a buyer, dude, you're like, man, you know,
to go out and get David Price,
yeah,
David freaking Price, like out of nowhere. I mean, that stuff's long gone. Unfortunately, it's like, and it's so far away.
It is so far away right now, and then like I'm saying, I keep saying it. And my fear is that it's really, really far away, and who knows when it's going to come back, man? Like, are we ready, like, for a 4 or 5 year rebuild? I mean, who's we anyway? Because hardcore baseball fans, there aren't even that many out there. As time goes on, baseball in middle markets, it's tough, man. Like, you got the St. Louis Cardinals, you know, they're not New York or LA, but the St. Louis, you know, that's not a major money market, but it's a baseball town, you know. St. Louis is always around. Detroit, they were playing above their means for so long, man, being a mid-market, and now it's just
they weren't spending like a mid-market.
Yeah, exactly.
So technically they weren't. But yeah.
All right. With that said, let's move on to one more thing about the Tigers is Nick Castellanos. I like the guy, and lately he's been keeping it real, and his name's been in trade rumors for the past couple years now, and he's been here for a while, and he got to see what a winning baseball team is like, and he's really getting to see what a losing baseball team is like, and it's real tough for him, and I think all this stuff is wearing on him, and plus all the trade rumors. Right now, the hot rumor is the Cubs are looking at him. But he hit a walk-off home run on Sunday, which was pretty cool. And then he had some things to say after, and he really let loose on the fact that he thinks Comerica Park, you know, it's a joke, is what he said. And I tend to agree with him. Actually, like, why the heck is this center field so big? It never made sense to me. It didn't make sense to me when they built the park and they made center field so big, and then the first thing they did was sign Juan Gonzalez, a home run hitter, to a major big deal. And then, you know, you get Miggy. Imagine if Miggy played in Yankee Stadium. You know, if Miggy was a Yankee, and Nick went on to say this stuff, man. He's like, it gets hard to compare Tiger hitters with other hitters in the league because they're dealing with this 81 games a year, this huge ballpark. So, Dan, I will allow you to retort.
No one was complaining about the park being huge when they went on their 10-year run. They went to 2 World Series. They won 4 division titles in a row. No one was complaining. No one was complaining when they had the best pitching staff in baseball. No one was complaining when they had Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer. No one was complaining. No one was complaining then. Miguel Cabrera was still won a Triple Crown, winning home run titles. No one was complaining about the parks being huge. Now that they suck, now it's an excuse.
He's just
now it's an excuse.
Whiner right now. He's just whining about
same
everything.
Thing with Miguel Cabrera earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Well, why is your power numbers down? Why aren't you hitting home runs? Well, I don't have anybody around me.
Yeah.
What? Like, you got nobody hitting behind you, know, anybody hitting in front of you. Okay. Like, you're making $30 million a year. You're Miguel Cabrera. Yeah. Like, you're going to use that as an excuse now that there's nobody hitting around you. Yeah. Like, come on. And the park's too big. Well, then hit doubles and triples. Like, hit for average. Like, it drives me nuts when all of a sudden, now that they're struggling, they bring out all these excuses. It's the same park that they had when they were successful.
they're excuses or reasons, because Miguel Cabrera, he wasn't hitting 60 bombs like a year, but Miguel Cabrera hit a lot of deep balls that got caught that would in other parks would have been home runs. Nick Castellanos, the same thing, man. That is a very deep center field, and for no reason, because I believe that they can just bring the wall in.
They can just bring it in.
Is that?
It's more complicated.
Is it really? I wonder. Is there like rules?
You got to bring the whole. You got to bring all the. You can't just bring center field in. You got to bring all the
whole
walls
in. Figure it out, man. But my thing is like.
But why? Why?
So they can hit.
What is their team? What is their team building towards?
Why is it like a football field? Like it's not like you go to Ford Field and you play the Lions and their field is 120 yards long.
No, but that's what you.
And like you go to Soldier Field and that football field.
Fine. Let's make all baseball parks cookie cutter, same exact dimensions, and you ruin all the intricacies of what baseball is great for.
Is that what?
You want to make Fenway Park? You want to get rid of the Green Monster and make the wall completely the same all the way around? Hey, let's get rid of Green Monster. Let's just get rid of Fenway. You know what? Let's get rid of Fenway.
Tear them down.
To build a new stadium in Boston.
They did it with Yankee Stadium. They built a new Yankee Stadium. They brought that Porsche. They charged more money. Here you go, Aaron Judge. Let's hit some more home runs. We're gonna make this. We're gonna make this a 200 yards. Like, look, man. What I'm saying is, why isn't it like that though? Where all the parks are the same.
It's actually closer than it used to be. Wasn't it 440?
Yeah.
They went originally. They did bring it in.
They brought it in. They brought it in to 420, didn't they?
Yeah. So
I think they should have kept it. Build your team around it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Build great pitching, great defense, and build with speed. Beat doubles and triples. Steal bases.
Is that not a weird thing about baseball, though?
I think it's a great thing about baseball. I think that's what makes it great. I think that's what makes it so much fun to go to different ballparks around the country, because it's a different style everywhere you go. And I think that's what makes it great. It makes it fun. But
it wouldn't work in any other sport, having different dimensions of the field.
I mean,
maybe.
You could.
I mean, do it, but it'd be weird.
It'd be weird to do. It'd be weird to do it retroactively.
Why is it not weird in
now.
baseball?
Because it's always been that way.
So how come it's fair to? Because
what do you mean it's fair? Everybody's playing in that park.
That's what I'm saying. No, Castellanos said it, man. He said, "Look, man, we play here 81 games a year."
Okay.
So how is it fair to compare certain numbers? Like when he says comparing home runs, comparing slugging percentage, or whatever. You go down the list, because when you play in a park that's designed, that's quote unquote pitcher's park, where you got a long center field. But you play there 81 games a year. When you got these parks that are shorter, it's hard to compare these numbers.
Okay, and National League they don't have a DH, and American League they have a DH.
Yeah,
you have pitchers. It's completely different for pitchers.
Yeah,
they've done that for forever. What, 50 years?
You have to standardize that as well.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to do that after baseball, and that is a couple. I mean, I would like to have that. Both teams have a DH, but I mean,
I've gone back and forth with it. But it's.
I am because, and this is.
But I think that's what. It's just so great about baseball is that you have these things that are different than other sports. And if you take all that stuff away, then you're really hurting the game, because these are stuff that makes it unique. It makes it special. And then if you take that stuff away, and baseball is already starting to hurt a little bit. You take that stuff away, then it's just, and everything's the same.
What about these other rules that baseball is talking about, man? I know you're down with the robot umpires, and they started using them. Did you guys hear about this one? They started using in some type of minor league deal. I
don't have a problem with that umpire. With balls and strikes.
I don't think I would mind that either, but the human element, man.
As long as they set it up so it is perfect 100%.
You
you have to have it 100% perfect.
What about stealing first base, man? Like stealing first base on a wild pitch. They're starting to look at that one too. I always thought that would be cool.
Like anytime there's a wild pitch, I don't like that.
If a pitcher goes past the catcher and then you could just throw the bat down and run to first base.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I kind of like it. I think it'd be a little something extra.
On any pitch?
No, on a wild pitch. Like if you're standing in the box, and the pitch goes,
by the catcher, you can run to first, no matter what the count is.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I don't like that.
You don't like it? Why not?
Just because you can't just run to the base. I don't know. It's just stupid to me. I don't know. I played baseball my whole life, too, and it just seems weird. Like, you're just up there, and especially for little kids, they're going to have pass balls all the time, so you're just going to keep running to first base, and then they're going to overthrow it at first base. Yeah. Then they're going to... I used to coach little kids in baseball. Then they're going to overthrow first, and then they're going to run to second. They're going to get a home run on a wild pitch the very first pitch of the game.
That's a great point, Joel. Like, you couldn't implement that in the youth leagues, man.
And then you're going to have to play how you're growing up. Yeah. You can't just, like... I don't know. I hate when they change stuff. It should be kind of pretty much the same.
What do you think, Dan, about a pass ball running to first base?
I don't know. I would have to look more into it. I'm not crazy about it. I think once you're in the batter's box, I don't think you should be able to just drop the bat and run to first. It just seems kind of awkward to me.
Yeah, it seems weird. Just like,
I understand it if it's. I even think it's weird when it's a full count. If you strike out, man. You should be out, in my opinion. But.
I understand squeezing the ball, so you have to tag them because they're dropping it. So that makes sense why you can run to first.
I don't know, man. You're striking out. Like you swing and miss. You're done. It should be the third strike. I don't really. It doesn't really make sense to me. But I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. But I would like to see it in see how it works in the minor leagues. Take a look at it, kind of see how it looks before I make it exact opinion on it. But if I had to just say right now. I wouldn't go for it.
There's things, man, that are implemented in these. Man, I went to a Mud Hens game and noticed the pitch clock. Man, the pitch clock is.
I think they need. To speed that thing up. Yeah. Like they put it in and it didn't make any difference because it was too long. But if they shorten that thing up, I'd be all for that. They need to shorten these games. They need to be 2 hours to 2.5 hours. And that would help ratings.
But isn't that the other thing about baseball too? Is it like baseball is a
relax,
a day at the park, man? Like, are you gonna? So you're wildly against making every field the same dimensions, but you want to speed up this game a lot. So you're
speed up the part that's not playing.
Partly you're a purist.
Games.
Partly you're a millennial that wants to make the game cater to you.
I want to make the games the way they were in the 40s. So that's the complete opposite of that because
what?
They were 2 hours. The average game was 2 hours back then.
No way.
Yes way. Because you didn't have all the commercials and you didn't have pitchers taking forever to throw a pitch.
We looked it up before, I remember.
Yeah, it was like games were averaged between 2 and 2.5 hours. Now they're averaging 3 to 3.5 hours.
Well, I get with all the pitching, guys will pitch 13 innings, they wouldn't get taken out. So we didn't have all the pitching changes,
That's part of it, but it's more the time in between the pitches.
Well,
with the pitcher, the batter.
And the batter stepping out of the box to adjust every piece of uniform they've got on. I'm like, all that stuff's got to be gone.
Well, they used to do that, man. That stuff's been going on forever, man.
No, it hasn't been because why are the games 45 minutes to 60 minutes longer now?
Well, I believe it's television commercials, man. If you're
some of it for sure.
It's got to be.
There's a little bit of both,
and they want. A lot of the more time the more longer the game goes on, the more time people are in the park spending money, and so I bet the owners want these games to be longer. But the TV era really helped it because people would sit and watch a game for 3 hours. Now people don't want to sit for 3 hours and watch a game.
People will watch a game for 3 hours. They'll watch it for 3 hours TV? if it's fast paced. If it's going and moving. If a game went to 13 innings and it goes 3 hours, people will watch that game. But if it's moving, if it's a slow moving game, batter stepping out of the box, pitcher stepping out, catcher going to the pitcher, 3 times an inning, like that all that stuff's got to be gone.
Yeah,
it cut all this crap out that's just a non-play. You got to cut all that stuff out. No one wants to see that. Right. No one wants to watch that. Whether it's 1940 or 2020, no one wants to see that type of stuff.
Yeah.
They want to watch play.
I hear you, man. All right, look, speaking of too long, we spent too much time on baseball anyway, man. We're trying to hit all these sports tonight. We're trying to catch up.
30 minutes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's enough Tiger talk. Let's go on to my favorite subject, our beloved Detroit Lions, the real winners in this town.
Yeah.
The ones that never let us down. The Detroit Lions.
Are you feeling okay, Tom? Or what?
Lord. No, the ones that actually, we talked about this last year. Are the Lions the ones that actually have the most hope for winning? And right now, I think they do. Again, I thought they did last year, and it was super less than mediocre. Some moves this year. Trey Flowers, big deal. You got some guys that are disgruntled with Snacks Harrison, who we got him last, early
trade deadline
last year. And man, the guy's good. But he wants his money. Big play Slay, man. Big play Slay's kind of starting to frustrate me, man, because he's getting up there in years. He's already, I think, the second or third highest paid defensive back in the league. At some point, you got to say, look, man, there's a salary cap here, and do you want to win? Are you going to hold out? At some point, you got to get your money, right? You got to get your money. You got to get what you're worth. Know your worth. But at some point, man, the team's got to come involved, man. The team. So where do you guys sit with the Lions right now, and with our two most important defensive players needing to get paid, but being under contract and possibly being disgruntled and causing chaos inside that defensive locker room? Now, mind you, they both ended their quote-unquote holdouts. They both said that they're showing up. Do you pay these guys, or do you say, hey, you're both under contract? We're going to roll with how it is right now.
Well, with Snacks, there's 2 years, so I don't think you can pay him yet.
Slay just re-signed, last year?
That's his 2 years also? Are they both I
think so.
Slay's got a couple years, man. He just re-signed, yeah.
So, yeah, with both of them with 2 years, I would... you just can't up them again. Maybe next year, I would say, hey, you guys playing this year, and we'll talk about it next year. When you guys have a year left, we'll see how this year goes, and we'll talk about it next year. But you're under contract this year, and you got to play. Like you said, they're going to show up, and I see them probably holding out next year if they don't come to a contract. So I would say, have them play this year and say, hey, you're under contract a couple years, play this year, we'll look at it next year. Because with 2 years left, it's just... And they're not going to hold out, it sounds like, so...
Yeah, see, all right, so with Slay, he signed July 20th, 2016. The Lions signed him to a 4-year, $48.15 million contract extension with $23.1 million guaranteed. A signing bonus of $14.5 million. Why... that's a big contract.
Yeah, because he got his money,
in the NFL. He got paid.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And he needs to be a leader on this team, man. And this is the example he's going to set. Now, like I said, I'm all about players getting their money. But when you're... This one bothers me, man. Especially with Slay, man. He's not on the upswing of his prime here,
Mm-hmm.
He missed a few games last year.
I don't know. It doesn't bother me as much because they're going to be there for training camp. They're going to be there day one of training camp. If this started going into training camp and then started going to preseason, and then you're wondering if they're going to be there for the regular season when it starts, then you got a problem.
Yeah.
But they used what leverage they had to try to negotiate and try to get more money and try to get a better contract. They didn't get it. And now they're here. They're playing. They're back for day one of training camp. So I don't have a problem with it. They tried to negotiate. They tried to use the leverage they had to negotiate. And it didn't work out, and they're here. So I don't have a problem with it. But if I'm in the Lions boat, I don't extend their contracts. I don't pay them any more money. They're going to be on the you have them for these next 2 years, and then you let them go. That's how the NFL works now. You can't extend these guys and hope that you're going to get the same production that you're going to get the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to. That's not how the NFL works.
It's such a problem in baseball where you're paying guys for what they
did in the past.
Yeah. That is not how the NFL works.
That's not how. That's not. I know we hate saying it, but that's not the Patriots way. No, that's not the Patriots way.
Well, it's not the Patriots way, and the NFL stands for not for long, man.
But part of it is
man. Like the
contract reason is that they're not guaranteed, and that is part of the problem, is that they can cut them at any time. So,
and I honestly hate that part.
I know, and that's what the problem
is. That's where the signing bonuses come in, and that's where these players and their agents have to negotiate very large signing bonuses. So if they do get cut, so teams aren't encouraged to cut them either, because they're going to have to pay all that money. That's why the Lions couldn't just cut Stafford. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, not that they necessarily wanted to, but they couldn't. It wasn't even like in their thought process because of the hit, and they couldn't even trade him because of the hit either.
Yeah. And then you got the situation with Calvin Johnson where they took that signing bonus. Like, once he decided to retire, and that's a whole battle too. Like, where do you guys even side with that, man? Where Calvin Johnson, he basically quit because he seen this team wasn't good. Same thing as with Barry, man, when he quit. But so you take back that signing bonus, and it's kind of like, hey, man, you quit. The Lions were right to go after that money, but at the same time, it sounds kind of petty, especially if they want Calvin Johnson to come back for, reunions and come
Calvin
back
Johnson
on,
Day.
Yeah. So
come to the game and see him.
And it's tough with this stuff, man, in the NFL especially, because it's such a violent sport, and the repercussions that these players are having years down the line, and you hear about, so-and-so's got dementia and he's dead broke now, but he's a Hall of Fame player. Like, these players should be taken care of because they're risking their bodies. And when you sign a contract, that contract should be valid, man.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
I mean, it is valid to some degree.
It's valid until it's not, and until you don't produce no more, we cut you.
You still have the signing bonus, though. That is yours.
You get the guaranteed, whatever.
You get a guaranteed signing bonus. I mean, that's what they have to negotiate. That's how the NFL works. That's going to be your money, guaranteed money. You have to negotiate a large signing bonus when you have an opportunity to do so.
So with Calvin is because
he retired.
But isn't the signing bonus a signing bonus where once you sign the line, that money's yours?
Whatever it was.
So how were the Lions even able to come
within the years that you play? So if the Lions had cut him. If the Lions had cut him, they would have had to pay him all the signing bonus.
Because he
left. He doesn't get the rest of the signing bonus that he was entitled to.
But I think a signing bonus should be like day one. Like, when you sign this contract, your signing bonus. Okay, you sign a 5 years, $25 million.
But you didn't.
But it's within the length of the contract.
Signing bonus. Well, see, that's where I disagree with it. With the signing bonus theory there, where the signing bonus should be, I'm signing. This is my bonus. So I'm signing this on day one. That's the bonus.
But that's not how it works.
Because the signing bonus.
But it has to be though, because that's within the salary cap. Because you can't just hey, we're gonna, because then you could just, if the signing bonus wasn't within the salary cap, you could just say you could be like you could be Jerry Jones and Patrick Mahomes. Once your contract's up, come sign with the Dallas Cowboys. I'll give you $100 million signing bonus, and that's yours right away.
Yeah.
And then whatever the contract is after that, whatever. But he won't give you $100 million right after that. So it has to be divided year by year within the salary cap.
In the salary cap, yeah.
So that's why they got it back, was for the salary cap, basically.
Yeah, because I think he had a year on. Did he have a year or two on his contract still, Calvin? I don't know. It gets messy, man. But I've always had a problem with these NFL contracts because it's shady that you can just cut a guy, man, like so quickly.
Not everybody can get that guaranteed money unless you are one of those top players.
Yeah.
So, you do want that, but not all these players can get it. And they're getting low money, and then they're getting their body used, and then they're getting cut. So, honestly, that's what I think the majority of the problem is with NFL, is that.
Well, I mean, that's why you got to. I mean, it's tough. I mean, you can get hurt right away, but that's why you got to. You're on your rookie contract, but it's 3 years, and then you blow up, and then you got to make that first time you're a free agent.
Twice.
You got to make it big, and you got to sign a huge signing bonus.
A rookie contract
to take care of you. You got that first contract you sign as a free agent. that has to take care of you for the rest of your life. Like, that's how you got to look at it.
They're so small, though, and especially they've made them even smaller. Like Stafford was the last one to get that.
No, he's saying.
No, I'm talking about your first
rookie.
one as a free agent.
After
your rookie
as a
contract's
free
always
agent.
going to be a certain.
What do you think?
What
Do you think the length of a rookie contract? I think a rookie contract shouldn't be over 2 years.
2 to 3? Yeah.
You think 2 to 3 is okay?
Yeah, but then you can franchise them 2 years in a row.
See, I hate the franchise tag. I think the franchise tag should be gone too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with
Your
that.
contract's up. Your contract's
one
up.
year.
No, screw that. You signed a contract. That contract's up. You're a free agent.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to be franchise tagged. That's ridiculous.
Especially on a contract that you can just cut them at any.
Yeah, that
to
is the biggest problem with the NFL. It's a stupid franchise tag because
Yeah.
the contract's up.
Yeah.
You're a free agent. You should not be allowed to be franchise tagged because if you get hurt and your career's over, you can't go sign that contract.
Yeah.
Where you went through this time, you played through your contract, you've been a great player, obviously a top 10 player your position because they wouldn't franchise tag if you weren't.
Well, your franchise tag, it's your top 5, right?
Five.
Top five regardless,
The average pay of the top 5 at your position. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're a quarterback, that's not a bad deal.
But that takes away your opportunity to sign a big contract, to sign a big signing bonus.
Yeah,
and if you get hurt in that franchise tag year, you're screwed.
It's not a bad deal no matter what position you are, but you do not get that guaranteed huge deal.
Because it's only for that 1 year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you get hurt and you're done for the rest of your career, you get hurt and you're nowhere near the player you were, you're never going to have that opportunity to be that free agent and sign that big contract, and more importantly, sign that big signing bonus. Mm-hmm. Like, the franchise tag has to be gone.
Yeah.
It's coming up, too, man. They're going to have to rediscuss the collective bargaining agreement. It's probably going to be lockouts, maybe a strike and stuff coming up, man. I hate to hear about that stuff, man. But there's things that need to be done, man. Because the problem is there's so much damn money. The NFL is billions of dollars, man. There's no reason why there should be arguments about these types of things, man. But it's just there's a lot of greed. There's a power struggle, and it's all that, man. It's disappointing because there's so much money, man. There's so much money. Let's get back to talking about the actual team on the field now. So now we got that money talk out of the way, which is hard to do. Some of these additions, did the Lions get better? Is T.J. Hawkinson gonna make a difference? Is Matt Stafford? Is he going to prove to be an elite quarterback this year? Is Trey Flowers going to make a big difference? Is Matt Patricia, did he learn anything about being a head coach from last year that's going to come into this year? Like, is this Lions team, is there something to be excited about here? Or is this just going to be same old Lions?
Ask me in 12 months. No,
12 weeks?
I'm just messing with it. After the season.
Oh, come on, man. We got to know now, man. We need rock hard opinions right now, dude.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because with getting Flowers, it does seem like our defense is better, having Snacks the whole season. It does seem like our defense is better. I don't see Stafford having as bad of a year as he did last year. So, and then especially with the tight end, at the tight end position, we're twice as good as we were last year, I think, at tight end. And I know most of Stafford's years where he's had big years, he's had good tight ends or good tight end play. So, I think I don't know. It's hard to say because it's still so early. I got to see training camp, but I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting season. I think our offensive line is still going to be a little bit of a question. So if Stafford's going to actually have time to throw the ball. And then also our running game. Are we going to give Stafford finally that running game all season? And how can he perform with the running game? So I think there's a lot of good questions out there. And
I do. I like the running game a lot. The line, they've put a lot of money. Now T.J. Lang is gone. This is the time where the offensive line should gel together, man. I think we got an offensive line stud in Frank Ragnow.
Yeah, it's his second year, so
I think he's going to be really, really good. I think the line as a whole, I mean, it's all about health, man. That's the main thing in the NFL, man. You know, you got to be healthy. Seems like there might be some depth there. Hopefully, But with the running back position specifically, man, I like the pickup of C.J. Anderson, and I think Kerryon Johnson, if he can stay healthy, obviously, I think they could be pretty good, man. I think, and it's a whole commitment to the running game.
We'll definitely have a commitment to the run.
Yeah,
for
you're
sure.
going to see that now.
Some games,
are you going to Are you committing to something that's going to work?
Yeah.
Like you can't commit because you got Matt Stafford, who he's got the arm, he is the gunslinger. But man, if you can really get a running game going around him, and then you hit that play action and drop it down the field to Galladay and
I like Galladay too this year. He'll really step up. He's stepped up.
Marvin Jones, and then see if T.J. Hockenson can open up that middle,
both in the run game as well as the pass.
Yeah, he's a blocker and a catcher. So I mean, the offense, I think it's improved, but it's going to look different. And is this finally the year where? Because every year you hear, you got to give Stafford more. He needs more weapons. He needs more weapons. He had Calvin Johnson, but he needed a running game. Calvin Johnson left, but it's now it's it all here. Is Marvin Jones and Galladay, are they good enough? Or how much did it hurt losing?
Marvin Jones last year?
No, not Marvin
Tate?
Jones, but Golden Tate. Yeah,
Tate. It hurt. You could tell it.
Did it hurt a lot, or did it hurt just a little? For this year, is there enough weapons at wide receiver, and can Hockenson fill that void that Golden Tate always filled up the middle? And then you think about Danny Amendola, how much can he bring to the table? Other than him crying about his girlfriend on Instagram.
I don't think you expect much from him.
You don't expect much from him?
No, I don't. I think he'll be injured early. I really don't expect a lot from him for some reason.
Well, I think it all is going to come down to the offensive line. It's going to come down to the offensive line. It's going to come down to if the guys can stay healthy. Because the health, I think, was the biggest factor last year. Because I still think, I look back on it, and we broke down every game. And I think we were just amazed at how much Stafford regressed.
Yeah, he looked bad last year.
And I still think that Jets game, the first game of the year, I think he got beat up and I think he got hurt. And they actually said, it was later in the year, he had a broken bone in his back, and he just wasn't. He was not right from game one on.
He didn't move around the pocket at all.
No, he just was not the same guy. And then guys started going down. Marvin Jones going down, then they traded Tate, and they just were, from midseason on, they just were not a really competitive team because guys were gone, guys were hurt, Stafford's hurt, they traded Tate. They just weren't the same team. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the offensive line. And can they protect Stafford? Stafford got his ass kicked last year. He got beat up. There was at times they were able to run the ball, but towards the end of the year they weren't running the ball that well. Mm-hmm. And if you can't run the ball, then you can't protect. You got nothing. So at the end of the day, it's the offensive line, and I'm not that confident on the right side of the line. I'm just not. And the right tackle and right guard positions are not that strong. And I think that's the weak point of this team, and I think it's going to show itself come this season. Maybe some guys step up. I know they've drafted some guys, in the later rounds who are starting to show some promise. Maybe those guys step up and take some starting positions. Who knows? But at this point in time, if I had to say what their weakness is, it's the right side of the line. And if that right side of the line doesn't progress, I don't think they're going to be very successful. And Kerryon Johnson, we talked about it last year, and I'll admit, maybe I was wrong. I thought Kerryon Johnson could be a guy who could carry the ball, 20 to 25 times a game. Just the way he was running, the way he was running over people. But again, he ended up getting hurt.
I think it's
missed a lot of time.
I think it's hard for rookies to do that. There are those special guys out there that do it, but it's hard for a rookie running back to just come in and just do that all year without getting hurt.
That could be it too. And who knows? Maybe he's going to put on some more muscle over this offseason and be stronger. And I'm sure he has. And he has to. Yeah. But he has to be a guy. He's got to play at least 14 games next year.
Yeah.
And be a guy that they can rely on and hand the ball off to. And that's what this team is going to be. That's what their coaching staff, with getting these 2 tight ends, getting C.J. Anderson, they're going to be a team that's going to run and pound the ball and run the football and then run play action and throw it to these tight ends and throw a few play actions deep to Kenny Golladay. That's what this team is going to be. That's what they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then depend on their defense. And they stepped up their defense. They're good. They got Snacks. They got Trey Flowers. But again, the linebacking core. Is this somebody? Is this a group that we can trust? Is this a group that's going to progress? Is Jared Davis going to step into that role and be a leader of this defense and be that middle linebacker that the Detroit Lions need him to be and what they drafted him to be? We haven't seen it yet, and they need him to be that for this defense to take another step up. And Glover Quinn was a leader of this defense. He's gone now. Who's going to step into his role? So there's still a lot of questions. They've answered some things, but there's also questions in other areas that we have to see.
Yeah, we're going to see. We'll see a lot of that in training camp, maybe preseason. But a lot of these things that we're going to learn, you're not going to learn this stuff until where's this team at week 4? And they got a murderer's row, man.
To start off.
Oh, my God. I mean, you start out at Arizona, but they've never done good going out west.
They always lose when they go.
And then, oh man, you got the Chargers coming in, and then what is it?
I'm pulling up right now.
Yeah, I think you got it's the Chargers. Then I think you go to Philly, and then
Philly, Chiefs, Packers.
The Chiefs.
Vikings,
and then the Chiefs come in.
Then the Giants, Raiders.
It's the first 5 games are brutal, man.
But the schedule's going to be. You can already mark it off right off the bat. They're going to have 6 tough games because their division's tough as hell.
Yeah,
you got the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers in it. Oh. You're going to play all those teams twice. It's a really, really tough division. Might be the toughest division in football. So you add that to the factor too. They might be a good football team and still be the worst team in the division.
Yeah, and you're playing against a tough schedule as far as to
be good, you got to be good teams
West
anyways.
Is loaded, man. They are loaded, and
to be good though, you got to beat good teams anyways.
Hey, to be the man, you got to beat the
man.
Exactly.
They're gonna have to win a lot of tough games.
They will. I looked at the schedule, man. I was like, 8-8, man. And that's me drinking the Kool-Aid, man. You got people out there. I saw something today, man. Somebody saying
3-13.
Yeah, they're gonna be the worst team of football.
I don't see that at all. But I'm somewhere between 7 and 9 wins.
What's weird to me is last year
last year
we seen their very worst game and their very best game within a few weeks. So I'm still trying to figure them out.
And that could have been the thing where it's a new coach.
Yeah.
Where you saw some glimpses of what they can be once he has everything in place.
Yeah.
That Dolphins game, the Patriots game was one, but the Patriots always a team that early on they're not the same team, anywhere near the same team that they are at the end of the year. So the Patriots,
that team is inspired, man. Mm-hmm. I know,
but to me, it was the Dolphins game. They went on the road in Miami, played a Dolphins team that was playing well at the time. And they went out and just beat the hell out of them on both sides of the ball, both sides of the line. And Stafford played the type of game of what you want Stafford to be. I think he was 20-25 for 220 yards and just efficient as all hell. They were running the ball. I think they ran for over 200 yards in that game. Yeah. And they were dominant defensively. Yeah. And that game was okay, that's what a Matt Patricia Detroit Lions football team is going to be.
Yeah.
It might not be this consistently now in his first year. He doesn't have all his pieces in place. Doesn't have all his guys in place. But 2 years, 3 years down the road, that game is what you're going to see consistently. Hopefully. That's if everything goes right, that type of game is what Detroit Lions are going to be consistently. And that's what we have to hope for.
We going to see.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to catch up on the Pistons a little bit. We got the Wings, then we're going to catch up on some college. So we got some Michigan Wolverines to talk about, and if we want to be even about it, we should probably talk a little bit about the Spartans, whatever they got going on. So we can't just be Michigan biased, right?
No, we're not Michigan biased.
We're going to take a little quick commercial break, and we will be right back. This is the Detroit Sports Sit Down.
Hi, everyone. This is Clint.
This is Ross.
This is Joel.
This is Cutter.
This is Tony.
From 3 Beers In.
A proud member of Big Heads Media Network.
Each episode we review local Austin craft beer and talk about
Clove and Bananas.
References I don't get. And Academy Award winner Matthew McConaughey.
So tune in,
crack open a beer,
and hang out with us.
Find us on bigheadsmedia.com, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify,
or on 3beersinpodcast.com.
This is the podcast.
Welcome back to the Detroit Sports Sit Down. We're hitting all the teams on this comeback episode, and up next is our beloved Detroit Pistons. Detroit basketball. Is it time to be excited? Have there been major moves? Should we be really confident in Dwayne Casey?
I got my season tickets.
Can you just change Detroit to mediocre? Mediocre basketball.
No, hey man, look, we made the playoffs, man. Playoffs.
Does it really count if you get blown out in every single game?
If you don't win a playoff game,
not even if you don't win, you don't even keep it within 20. Any of the games.
It counts.
You made the playoffs, and that was the goal, right?
That's going to be the goal for the next 5 years. It sounds like.
Is there any reason to be excited about this team? I get excited about Piston basketball just because I love Piston basketball. So I'm slightly excited. Reggie Jackson has not been traded. I'm still waiting for that to happen.
Drummond just got that. He's got up for 20 more years.
Oh man,
that's happening.
Tom Gore wants to give him a 25 million, 25-year contract. Yeah.
That's coming soon.
Oh, well, hey, you know what? Drummond's probably going to just quit basketball and be a rapper, man, so we probably won't have to worry about Drummond much longer, man, if his rap career blows up.
What do you think about their draft pick, Siku?
Yeah, Dumbuwe.
It's a weird pick, ain't it? I mean, for a team that wants to win now, they draft the youngest kid in the draft.
But, hey, man,
it's definitely going to be a project.
But a lot of upside. When it comes to the draft, you try to listen to a lot of the analysis, especially with these foreign. We've had such great luck with foreign picks.
I mean, just great luck in the draft, really, in general.
So, I've
most of them pan out.
Yeah. I get reminded of the Darko pick every 6 weeks. That was in 2003.
Feels like it happens every 6 weeks, or 6 months.
Every time I talk about the Pistons, if you mention Pistons draft, the first thing you think of is Darko.
You're right. Yeah, you did.
You could have had Carmelo. You could have had Dwayne Wade. You could have had Chris Bosh. Oh no, we got Darko.
We know.
We know. But, hey, man, whatever. He's long, he's athletic, huge upside, 19. I think it is, isn't he, 19? But
I know he's playing, pro when he was, 15 years old.
Yeah, so
I mean,
we'll see,
he's a
man.
talent.
I wasn't opposed to it, man. He was projected to go, in that 10 to 12 range, and we got him at 15. So
yeah,
hey, roll the dice, man. I'm cool with the pick.
You might as well roll the dice at that point.
What are you gonna get? Because everybody knows, man. The NBA draft, man. It's the first 4 picks that really matter. 4 or 5 picks. Yeah, Draymond Green got drafted in the second round. How many dudes in the second round? The last 10 years. Okay, so go back from 2009 to 2016. How many dudes that got drafted in the second round are still even on NBA rosters right now? Very, very few. How many dudes? The NBA draft is just so. If you're not drafting if you're not getting a superstar that pans out. in the first 10 picks, like it's just like
all
the rest is just bonus. Like, so it's not the NFL, man, where you can just get really good quality guys that will fit roles on your team in the third, fourth.
I mean,
round.
the difference is that you got how many 52? What are the 52 positions
it's
on
a 53-man roster?
53-man roster. NBA,
15.
15.
Roster.
So it's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. But at the same time, like what I'm saying is, okay, I'm not going to go nuts with the Pistons have the 15th pick. I'm not going to go crazy and get super analytical on who they pick and really break it down because in reality,
who knows?
Who knows, man? Like Giannis Antetokounmpo. You want to say that name? Are you ready?
He's just Giannis.
He's just
one
Giannis.
word.
That's what everybody calls him.
In America, we call him Giannis.
Yeah.
It's America.
You're Giannis.
You're Giannis, and you're the MVP, man. Like that guy was the best player this year, man.
And that's what you hope for.
But what did he get picked? He got picked like middle.
Same about he went.
Same route. Kyrie Leonard was the same. Same range.
Did you say Kyrie Leonard? It's Kawhi.
Kyrie.
Get it right. The claw. Yes. But look, point being, NBA draft, man. After the first 2, 3, 4 picks, man, it's all crapshoot. So yeah, I'm cool with it, man. He seems like he's gonna be right. But the other moves, though. The one move. Let's start with the one move that was made, and that's getting Derrick Rose, former MVP of the league, put up a 50 spot last season. Playing some good basketball, got him on the low, man. The biggest thing for the Pistons going into this free agency was that they had no money, and they came up with a superstar. Now, like Dad, you said, you said before we started the show, we were talking about Derrick Rose. He's like, man, if he can get his knees back from 5 years ago, man, heck yeah, we got Derrick freaking Rose, baby. But Derrick Rose is not the same Derrick Rose from 5 years ago. He is not the.
Can we get Derrick Rose with 25-year-old knees, please?
Yeah. But I think it's a smart pickup. I think it was great, and plus, anything to light a fire under Reggie Jackson or just push Reggie Jackson out of the way is what I really want. Now, I'm so for trading Reggie Jackson for a bag of basketballs and $10 under the salary cap, something. Just whatever. Just get him out of here. I don't like the guy. I don't think he's a good player. I don't think he's a winner, and I think he's a ball hog. I think he's a bad version of Chris Paul, like a bad version of anybody who's good. Like that's what Reggie Jackson is.
A bad version of anybody that's good.
A bad version of anybody who's good. I'm not a fan, and I can't wait till he's gone. I think one of the worst decisions the Pistons ever made was getting him and signing him to a big free agent contract and trying to make him be the point guard. It's been a disaster through and through, and I can't wait till he's gone. I want him traded now. If we can't trade him, which I don't see why anybody else would want him.
Well, it's an expiring contract.
That's the only thing. That's what I'm talking about. So if you can get anything for him at this point, trade him because of the expiring contract.
So my thing is, though, what you're gonna get in return is someone with a big contract for his expiring
contract. That's what I want to. I want to talk about this real quick because there was, if you guys remember, the Mike Conley trade was on the table where it was like Reggie and then a bunch of they wanted picks and they wanted Luke Kennard and and then you get Mike Conley, who is on the wrong side of 30 with a huge contract. Now they were in big talks with that trade. That trade did not go through. Mike Conley, he ended up going to was it Utah? I think didn't he? They traded him to Utah. I think it was I think so. Anyway, Conley got traded, but it wasn't to Detroit. I was on the train for the Conley trade because I'm on the
The wrong side of 30.
I would have taken Conley with it because the anybody but Reggie, like anybody but Reggie. Can you get me a real point guard in here? And Mike Conley, he's still got some gas in the tank, I think.
That might have dug the hole a little deeper though with the Pistons.
Yeah, it might have. Now here's the other one.
30-year-old.
While we were on hiatus, the big rumor and the big storyline was once Paul George, all the stuff, all the chips got laid out with Paul George leaving OKC, and then there was all the stuff with Kawhi and all the free agent moves, Kevin Durant going. The one big storyline for Detroit was, could the Pistons trade for Russell Westbrook? And now Russell Westbrook averages a triple-double. The guy statistically is amazing, right? But
there's just too many bigs on our team.
Cancer in the locker room. Yeah, like too many. He's a ball hog. He only cares about it. He doesn't care about winning. He only cares about his stats and all this stuff.
That's too many of those players on our team. Also, I mean, isn't that what Reggie is? And
Reggie would have been part of it.
Okay, he would have been part of it.
So the package.
You know why? That's why Reggie Jackson got traded from OKC to begin with.
Yeah,
because he thought he was better than Russell Westbrook. He thought he should have been starting.
Yeah. And Reggie was a cancer in the OKC locker room, being a lesser player than the guy who started in front of him. Clearly, that was not the case. But now Russell Westbrook was the same guy. So, Dan, I'll ask you, would you have wanted to see a big trade for Russell Westbrook? And I know that it's not going to happen, obviously. Like, he got traded to Houston and all that. And that's even a phenomenal thing to talk about, because how are Westbrook and James Harden going to get together again?
Yeah.
And how are they going to share that ball? But besides that point,
that's going to be fun.
That's going to be theater right there. I can't wait to watch that. But what I want to know, Dan, is, like, as a Piston fan, do you think that making that trade and bringing in Russell Westbrook for the now, and then have Drummond, Griffin, and Westbrook be Detroit's, super team?
Big three?
The big three, the super team. Would you have wanted to see that?
Okay, so
big 3 over 30.
So yeah. So in my opinion, I think they need to blow the whole thing up and start over again, and try to win lotteries and try to find a superstar that way. I think that's what they need to do, but that's not what they're going to do, and we know that they want to win now. So with that theory in mind, if they want to win now, then I really wanted them to get Westbrook. For one, I'm kind of bored with Detroit sports in general right now. And I wanted something exciting and something, to kind of get, the town excited about, and a reason to go down there and go watch these games.
Yeah.
Like, they would have been...
They did that last year. And it helped
really.
for half a season.
The Blake Griffin trade was supposed to ignite the fan base.
Yeah, exactly. And they put themselves in another hole.
And the problem with that was Blake Griffin did ignite the fan base, but it turned out he was the only good player on the damn court most of the time.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And what happened? Just like you knew what would happen. He got burned out by the end of the season.
Yeah. And nothing left.
And they had nothing left. And it was just canceled.
Yeah.
The whole season.
Because it all goes back to Drummond.
It's Drummond and Reggie, man. Reggie still thinks he's the one that should have the ball on the last end, and he always misses.
Oh, I know. Well,
Has the guy ever made a winning shot? Has he ever drilled a game winner? Let me go back to my Roger Clemens. I might be misremembering things here, but I don't think Reggie Jackson has ever hit an important shot for the Pistons. Ever.
Well, I
feel like I remember
hit some important
maybe
shots.
1 or 2, man.
But,
oh God!
But what drives me crazy about those games down the stretch, where Blake Griffin was tearing it up, he's the guy, and Reggie Jackson is just standing at the top of the key, dribbling. 3 seconds left on the shot clock, jacks up an air ball.
Yeah.
Why isn't Blake Griffin getting the ball? Why aren't they running a play? Why is everything just Reggie Jackson and everybody else get out of the way? Why? He's one of the worst players on the court.
I guarantee that that's not the play that Dwayne Casey called. I think it's just when.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. You're right.
When you're Reggie Jackson and you have the ball, it's your decision. That's why you need a point guard who can facilitate. And he's not. I just hate him. I hate him to death.
That's a bit extreme.
It is. This is my... Oh, man, I hope this goes viral. Reggie Jackson, don't come to my house and punch me in the face, but I just want you to know that I want you out of town, man. I don't want you to be a Piston anymore. And Andre Drummond, I feel pretty much the same way about him, too, man. Like, I want to love my Pistons, man. I want to love this team. But they just... These two players...
What, it doesn't bother you that he only plays hard when Blake Griffin's screaming in his ear to motivate him? Like he's a 14-year-old?
They're just... It's
embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You were ready to say it's embarrassing. The way they play. Yeah. The way Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond play. We've been watching it for years.
We're from the bad boys. And then we got the go-to-work boys. And now we got this bull crap.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Man, like, get out of town. Just go. Go somewhere else. Trade him. And that's what I do. Like, Derrick Rose, I'm excited that he's here because hopefully he does have something left in the tank. And maybe he can just become the starting point guard. And that maybe that will infuse some fire into Andre, because Andre at least has...
Okay, Tom, that's not going to happen.
When Andre Drummond wants to be the man, he's the freaking man.
You got to have someone...
Did he play like that in the playoffs?
Hey, dude, he was too focused on his new single.
Blake Griffin is out there on one leg.
Yeah.
On one leg. Had no business playing. And Andre Drummond's still not getting motivated from that. In the playoffs, watching their leader play like that with one leg... And Andre Drummond still can't get motivated.
Now,
how is he ever going to be motivated?
Was Drummond possibly phased out because the NBA is so changed toward, like, the big guy is pretty much irrelevant. Like, Drummond's even position is pretty much, irrelevant at this point. And that's what it really makes me want to...
It's not
get irrelevant. Some other team
it's
to
not irrelevant.
What team is winning with, like, you look at Golden State, like... they're not winning with a big guy. They can plug anybody in there.
How many players are there with the talent of an Andre Drummond? How many players are there? 15, maybe 20 at most.
That can
play at that level.
Dominate,
and if he plays at his ultimate level, and he plays at a high intensity from the opening tip to the final whistle, he's a 20-20 guy. He can be he can average a 20-20. He can be that guy.
And
he can be a dominant basketball player that's unique.
Embiid.
Yeah.
But the Sixers got shut down with superstars. Joel Embiid is that same type though, man. He's often injured. Plays when he wants to, but when he wants to, oh my God, the guy's dominant, and he dominates Drummond because that's
he dominates because he owns space in his head.
Yeah,
man.
He sure does, man. That's the comment about it. Joel Embiid owned space in Drummond's head, and those are the two. Who else is really out there that you could pair with Joel Embiid and Drummond, man?
Anthony Davis. I mean, there's guys. That's why I say that position is not irrelevant. But you got to be
more of a power forward, even though, man. It's going to be interesting to see how.
He's still so strong. We're talking big guys, right?
We're talking big men in the NBA.
Big men in the NBA.
And there is. Things have shifted, man. The NBA has shifted to the.
It has shifted, but it doesn't mean you can't win with
guys
them.
Who can.
If you have guys that are unique and rare talents at those positions, you can't just throw anybody in there. You can't just have an average big man because then it's not worth it. It's not even worth it to have an average big man. You might as well have a good guard as opposed to having an average big man. You don't just have a center; just have a center. That's what's changed. But if you have a top 5 center, which Drummond is, if he's playing at his top level, then that's a game changer. and you build your team around that, and you play around that, and you don't just have 5 guards on the court. If you have a rare talent, you have to play with them and you have to use them. But if he's not playing with high intensity, then he's worthless.
Would you have traded Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond, Detroit's first round pick next year for Westbrook and Steven Adams?
I don't think Drummond was in the conversation.
I'm just saying now that it's over, like hypothetically, I guess. Because what I'm saying is, would you get rid of Reggie and Drummond for something new?
A bad contract? I would.
Westbrook's contract is brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
But and Steven Adams, he's a formidable.
I shouldn't say
he's a formidable big guy.
If I am being forced by the owner to win now, then yes, I would do that trade.
You think you could win now with if you pair Griffin?
You're going to win more than you're winning now.
You're going to go to the second round of the playoffs.
Exactly. You're going to win some playoff games. Hopefully, get into the second round.
Yeah. I would have.
That's the best you're gonna do.
Yeah, how valuable now? From what I heard was a lot of the problem was they wanted a million picks or whatever. They also wanted Luke Kennard. How valuable is Luke Kennard right now?
The only shooter on the team.
Is he that good though? People, because I'm here, I'm like I get in social media and stuff, and like I try to talk with Pistons fans such as myself, and we get in these different fan groups, and shout out to Detroit Pistons Central, man. We love that fan group, man. That's a great Facebook fan group. I hear a lot of stuff on there, man, and people got a lot of good opinions, and some people really think Luke Kennard is the future of the Pistons. Do you guys see that?
I think he's. I mean, future in terms of what? I think he can be
future of being an NBA star.
He can be a starter on a winning team. Can he be a Kyle Korver? Yeah, that's so the white shooter comparing to a white shooter. That's so typical. But,
you try not to do that.
But it's hard. It's hard.
But it is like he's because Korver's also a lot taller. I think he's a lot taller than he was. But just that shooting guard. Yeah. He reminds me a lot of Larry Bird.
Yeah, Dirk Nowitzki. Who does he compare to? Oh, Larry Bird.
Yeah. Oh man, no man, but dude, just that sharp shooter, man. Is Kennard valuable enough where you got to keep him, or is he? Could he be trade bait? Like,
I don't think you got to keep him.
It depends what you're thinking. I mean, if you're trying to win now, and you're trying to bring in a superstar, so if they were trying to bring in Russell Westbrook. You don't want to give up a Kennard because you want Kennard's going to be a part of a winning team, a team that's going to win now. Like you need a Kennard.
How? But as a starter, as your starting shooting guard.
Well,
you really think he's a starting shooting guard?
Shooting guard / small forward, but he's a guy that's on the court that's going to make buckets for you because you're depending on Blake Griffin and Russell Westbrook, and if Drummond was still on the team, assuming Drummond was still on the team, to open things up for Kennard to get open shots. And you need a guy who's going to make those open shots.
I'm saying if we were going to get Westbrook, Kennard was going to have to be part of the deal.
I know that's what I'm saying. They would give him up. I'm saying if you're going to get a superstar, you don't want to give up a guy like Kennard because you want him to be a part of that winning team.
Okay. Is there any? But
if you're trying to, if you're going to go into a full rebuild, which I think they should do, then you give up a guy like Kennard.
You can't go into a full rebuild when you have Reggie. Drummond.
Reggie's expiring.
Yeah,
you can trade that, or you just let him. You just let it
ride.
When does the the Pistons just made the playoffs? Obviously,
really?
Barely.
Did they even need to show up? Because they could have just forfeited every game. It wouldn't have made any difference.
Statistically, factually, they made the playoffs. All right,
they played the games.
They played playoff games. That is a fact. But so now this year, so they made moves that strengthened their bench, but they didn't get better. So what you're not in a rebuild. This is not a rebuild. There's no rebuild.
No,
here.
of course it's not a
There's
rebuild.
still
Because they're in purgatory.
Exactly. God.
Which is why they either needed to go all out and get Westbrook, or they need to be rebuilding. You can't just play this middle ground.
What's the strategy now? Should your main goal? What is the Pistons?
That's what the Wings did for a little while. Was
we're not there
trying
yet,
to
man.
play. Hold on to that for a little too long.
You know
what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're gonna get.
I don't.
Stop bringing in hockey. You're gonna get your hockey minute.
Come on, man.
God, Joe does hockey. God dang. We will wrap.
You don't want to get there.
You
don't want to get stuck in that level.
That purgatory.
Then you're going to have to go down and rebuild. You know what I'm saying? You want to try to retool, but they're not doing it the right way.
The big thing about the Pistons, you can't get free agents.
So let's just end it at this.
Yeah.
Are the Pistons going to be successful with Blake Griffin right now? With what this team is, who they are.
What's success?
This roster as it stands right now, and if
can they be a contender? Can they be a contender in the East in the next 3 years?
No.
Contend to get to the Eastern Conference playoffs?
No, not the playoffs. I'm talking about.
I mean the Eastern Conference Championship.
Eastern Conference Finals.
Eastern Conference Finals.
No. Can they be a team that can get on a run, get hot? They say everything goes right. Everybody's healthy.
If Derrick Rose overtakes Reggie Jackson, or a significant move, like I'm holding out hope still that they find a way to trade Reggie and bring in maybe Kyle Lowry. I would take Kyle Lowry. He's on the wrong side.
You're grabbing for pie in the sky type things.
Not really, man.
Yeah, really. You're not going to trade Reggie Jackson for Kyle Lowry. That's not happening.
And a first round pick.
Stop.
I mean, I'm just
there are scenarios here because Toronto is in a full blown rebuild and they're in disarray because they just lost Leonard. They just won the championship, but they just lost the guy who won them the championship. Dwayne Casey has a history with Lowry. There's an actual situation here that could happen where we can bring him in, but he's also a little bit older, there's one more thing, and nightmare scenario for me too, but I could see Gore's making it happen. Chris Paul.
No, I'm talking seriously.
These are serious things. These are serious things.
That doesn't win them a championship. That doesn't even get them close to contending. And that's the point of my question. My question is,
Chris Paul,
how are
right
they?
Now, no.
So what? They should
There's no scenario, no.
So trade Blake Griffin now. Trade him now.
For what?
The best you can get. You're not going to get any better value than what you're going to give him.
Pie in the sky thing, man. Who wants an aging superstar with an inflated contract, man? His contract is higher every year, and he's got 3 more years, and he's like, and you just seen he can't get through a whole season. What are you going to get for him? You're not going to get a number 1 draft pick. Who are you going to
get rid of the contract?
How?
A team like a Toronto, who needs a superstar to replace the superstar they just lost, who still has a team that's a championship team if they can replace a superstar.
How are they
They just won a championship.
Okay. How is Toronto a championship team with Blake Griffin when they're going to have to give up something?
Draft picks. If I'm the Pistons, I'd take draft picks. Get rid of the contract, get draft picks.
Why the hell would you take a draft pick?
Get rid of the contract and rebuild.
To a team that's going to have... We've already discussed how ridiculous the NBA draft is. Toronto's not going to have a top 1, 2, or 3 pick. Why the hell will we trade?
To get rid of the contract, Tom.
And do what? Have nobody come to Detroit because nobody comes to Detroit?
And tank. And be a lottery team. That's how you rebuild. They're in purgatory. They're not going to get from purgatory to contender. They're not. They only have a very small window with Blake Griffin, and they're not going to go from purgatory to contender. You got a chance with Blake Griffin coming off. Yeah, I know he got hurt, but it was probably the best year of it. It was the best year of his career.
Time to train.
It was the best year of his career. You can get rid of that contract and go in full rebuild mode, and just be a bad team for a few years.
Yeah,
and you rebuild.
You think Tom Gores is going to accept
no,
that?
I'm not saying he's going to, and I know he's not going to. That's not what they're going to be, but that's what my question to you guys, which I was trying to get to 15 minutes ago, is if you were owning this team, what would you do? Because you're not going to get from purgatory to contender, so you got to go the other way. And you got to demolish the whole thing, and you got an opportunity right now with the way Blake Griffin just played. and he's still young enough in that contract and young enough that a contender, like I'm looking at a team like Toronto is a perfect scenario, who still has a core team, but they need one guy to take them over the hump again. Blake Griffin's that guy. Get rid of the contract and rebuild.
So why can't the Pistons make a trade for Kyle? If you think Toronto is still a championship-level team and they just need that one guy, how come the Pistons can't be that team and make a trade for Kyle Lowry?
Because they're not that one guy away.
Why not?
I don't think they're one guy away. I don't like Andre Drummond. I don't think he's a winner. I don't think he's going to step up in big games. He already proved that. He's never won a playoff game in his career.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, I don't think that I don't. You can bring up any trade possible, and I don't think they're going to go from purgatory to contender.
No,
I just don't see it. So you got to go the other way, and you completely rebuild, and then you trade Blake Griffin to a team that's close who needs one guy.
I mean, you got to just draft, but then you go back.
Especially with taking Siku this year, then you got a guy that's already young, and then you can hopefully pair him with another guy. So I agree with him, but if you can trade that, I don't know if you can get rid of Blake Griffin. He did have a good year.
If you're ever going to, it's going to be now.
Yeah.
The longer you wait, you're never going to get rid of him.
Yeah, because I don't know, Blake Griffin. You really think you can get rid of him?
I think you can. I think there's.
What is his contract? Because
I think he's still got another 4 years left on it.
It's a lot. I know.
At least another 4 years, and the money keeps increasing every single year.
Yeah.
But a team that's in a situation that has an opportunity to win a championship, if they're one guy away, I think would do it right now. I think if your window is short to win a championship, I think you take a chance on a Blake Griffin based on how he played last year. And then if you're a championship level team, then you don't need Blake Griffin to play 82 games or close to it like he did last year and wear himself out and burn himself out like he did. You can pair him back and do what do they call it, load management, and you come back to playing 55 to 60 games, and you keep him fresh and you don't play him on any back to backs. I mean, if I'm a team, I keep going back to Toronto, but I think they're a perfect example of a team that should go after a guy like Blake Griffin and try to make that trade. And do that and do load management and have him only play 60 games a year and then have him ready to go in the playoffs. Because if you're a team that's close and you can bring Blake Griffin the way he was playing last year, I mean that can take you over the hump. And I think teams would consider it, but the team that's not going to consider it is the Pistons. They're not going to move him because they think, and Tom Goros thinks, that they can win with this team, and I highly, highly, highly disagree with that.
All right, let's move on to something that's so near and dear to my heart, and it's Stevie Y. Steve Yzerman is back with the Red Wings, and he is in charge.
Yes.
Guys, I know, there seems to be a dark cloud over Detroit sports right now, and there's just not a lot of winning going on. But man, what a win for just Detroit sports fans and especially Red Wings fans to have Steve Yzerman come back home. How cool was that for you guys?
I didn't really think it was going to happen, to tell you the truth. But yeah, it is exciting. You know how he has his footprint in with the Canadian team, and he's a top hockey executive, so it is good to get a new look at hockey, someone who is top of the NHL to come to Detroit, and especially someone who played here for 19 years or
not even played, man. One call. He's an icon.
The Cubs,
a legend.
Joe, you said you didn't think he was going to come back. I've been saying he's going to come back for 2 years, and people thought I was crazy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, they're like, "Wow, Tampa Bay's such a good team. Why would he leave?" I'm like, no one cares about hockey in Tampa Bay. Number one, number two, this is his home.
Yeah,
this is home. He played his whole career here.
Yeah,
he cut his teeth here, learning under Con Holland. And the only reason he left is because Con Holland wouldn't leave. And people bash Ken Holland for not leaving. He should have stepped aside and let Yzerman take over. But why would Ken Holland step aside? Yeah. Like, he still thought he was a good GM. He was. He people say, like, oh, he just won because all the money and the salary cap. He took that team. They had a salary cap in the middle of that run where NHL went to a salary cap system. The Red Wings were a team that always spent. Mm-hmm. And then they brought the salary cap system. He adjusted on the fly and adjusted within that salary cap and won another cup in the salary cap era. So people can say whatever they want, but Ken Holland was one hell of a GM. And the fact that he was able to do that and keep that run going when the salary cap came in and win another cup is incrrible. So he had no, he did not.
The game pass him by though.
He had all right to stay.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was time. Yeah. It was time.
And he was he even said he was the one that recruited Yzerman, and he wanted Yzerman to come here too. I think he was going to probably stay as well. I know he signed. Who did he sign with? Was it New Jersey or
Edmonton?
Edmonton.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to Edmonton, and I thought he probably was going to stay here, and until they probably came to him and wanted him. So we'll see. We'll see how good of a GM he is going to Edmonton.
That's my question. Like, cause there's a lot of people's opinions that the game passed by, and like you said, once the salary cap hit, everything changed for Ken Holland. He was just. He was just riding coattails of having a bunch of money, to spend and just get whatever he wanted, And when we talk about Mr. I, who we talked already about how much he spent on the Tigers, he was just as willing to spend that much on the Wings, and so Ken Holland had like free will to just bring in. Oh, let's go get Brett Hall. Oh, let's go get Chris Cheller. Let's go get Lou Robitaille. Let's just get whoever we want and we'll sign him. And everybody wanted to come play for the Wings because it's class, organization, all about winning. Once that ride kind of ended, like Dan, your point is right, where that salary cap did come in and they still figured out ways to win. But as things proceeded, the salary cap got tighter and tighter, and there wasn't enough player development or whatnot.
Well, they never got that next wave. I mean, they drafted Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg in late rounds, and those guys were able to take over for the Yzermans and the Shanahans and the Fedorovs. And so you had that next wave of superstars that took over, and then once Datsyuk and Zetterberg were ready to pass the torch, there was nobody there to pass the torch for. Yeah. And you thought it was going to be like Gustav Nyquist and guys like that. And then they just
Tatar.
Tatar. That was the other one I was thinking of. Tatar and Nyquist, you were kind of hoping were going to be the guys that were going to eventually step up and be those first-line forwards and take that torch, and they never did. And nobody really took the torch from Datsyuk and Zetterberg, and as they aged and got older, the team started to fall apart.
Not only
and because of the salary cap era, you can't adjust. You're depending on the Nyquist and the Tatar to be those guys, and they're not those guys.
Because they were winning championships in the minor leagues, so you thought those guys were going to take over.
Now, but the other thing was with Blashill, like you said, the Grand Rapids Griffins, man, like Blashill was the coach of them. They were like the best.
Yeah, so you thought those guys were going to step up and take over and translate into the NHL, and it just never did. And part of it, though, to me, most of it is the defensemen. We never replaced our defensemen. Once Lindstrom left, Schneider, I can never remember the defenseman went back to...
You got
Rafalski?
What's that?
Rafalski?
Yeah. I mean, you lost all those guys, and you never really replaced them. You kept replacing with guys that you thought were going to be good, that are all offensive defensemen.
Yeah.
And none of them panned out either. I mean, you converted Eriksson, you gave him a huge contract, and he's not good.
All right. Here, Steve Yzerman comes in, he's a Hall of Famer, Stanley Cup champion, heart of the Red Wings legacy. When you got Gordie Howe, and then you got Steve Yzerman. And it's even debatable. I mean, people can debate between who's the greatest Red Wing of all time, Steve Yzerman or Gordie Howe. Am I wrong in saying that? Like,
no.
Is that a debate? Like,
I would say it depends on what area you grew up in. Yeah. It's probably more going towards Yzerman now, just because the time. But but I could say you could debate
either
that.
Way, Now, this man, Steve Yzerman, he's already a legend, and he's coming back. How much pressure is on his shoulders, and what kind of time frame does he have? And I want to equate this to Jim Harbaugh, he did great things at Michigan.
Yeah, no,
and then he goes on his career, does things, got to a Super Bowl with the 49ers, didn't win it. Steve Yzerman didn't win a championship with Tampa Bay, and and now Jim Harbaugh is starting to get his, like, that seat's getting warm now. He better win some games here now. What kind of time frame does Steve Yzerman have? What if this team doesn't win nothing for 5 years?
I think he's got a good...
And draft picks don't pan out.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be a total disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine this team not being a playoff team within the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, if you get to 3 years down the line, they're still not making the playoffs, then you're kind of like, oh, okay. But I just don't... You 8 teams in each conference make the playoffs, so you can sneak into the playoffs and then win a round. And get hot and win a round. So it's I think it's easier in hockey, or in hockey or basketball to kind of make that turnaround, or at least make that look like you've done a turnaround, because you can sneak in at an 8 seed and win a round, and all of a sudden it looks like, oh well, you had a pretty good season. You know what I mean?
Win Stanley Cups.
I know.
Hockey,
so
it's crazy, man.
So it's totally different. So I think it's going to be a lot easier for him to kind of make that turnaround and to have some success,
And I think the Wings are already starting to turn around, you see, with some of the players as well. So I kind of think they're already starting to get that young core. So I see them already starting to turn that way. He's just got to get some more pieces. And with his draft this year, I liked how he took a lot of defensemen.
A lot of people were questioning
years and years.
They were questioning the first round pick. A big opinion that I saw was that, if Ken Holland made that pick, he would have been destroyed. But because Yzerman did it, he's making a big move. Like, he's making a smart reach. And all that. Like, so Yzerman, he already has the benefit of the doubt for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We just got to see how it pans out, man. But it was, I think it's clear that something needed to happen, and bringing Stevie Yzerman back to run the Red Wings, for the Red Wings fans, like, what a jolt of excitement that is, man. He's not gonna step on the ice. He's not gonna score a game winner. But man, he rejuvenated the
it brings
fan
hope,
base.
and it brings faith, and it brings
nostalgia.
Obviously, nostalgia, obviously, but it's more about, like, okay, it brings a sense of confidence in the rebuild now. Like, there's not confidence in the Tigers rebuild. There's not confidence that the Pistons are going to make anything out of they're not them getting out of purgatory. Like, they are who they are. The Lions are who they are. Like, they're always going to be what they are. But for the Red Wings now, it's just a hope and a faith where people think maybe the game we're passing Ken Holland by. Maybe he didn't have what it had anymore. Maybe he doesn't have the scouts that he used to have. Maybe he doesn't know, what scouts he needs anymore, with the game kind of changing a little bit. Well, but with Steve Yzerman, he could be going based on his experience level 2 and saying, okay, we can get a guy like that, bringing him in right now.
Yeah.
But, with bringing in Steve Yzerman, everywhere he's been successful. So you bring him in, and it just brings this sense of confidence, I think, across the whole fan base. Like, okay, like, I can trust in this rebuild now. I can get excited about this rebuild because I have faith in the next 2 to 3 years this team's going to be competitive again. Yeah. And I think that it just changes everything, and it just brings a sense of hope to the whole franchise.
Exactly. All right, we're moving along here. We're going to switch gears. I brought up the name Jim Harbaugh. We're going to switch gears to Michigan football here real quick. And there's a lot of excitement this year with the Michigan Wolverines football program. One thing that bothered me, and it's hard for me to even say anything negative about Jimmy football here, but man, why are you taking shots at Urban Meyer when he beat you 4 times and now he's gone? I don't. And that story, it has some traction for a couple of days recently. Is there any reason why Jim Harbaugh should, with all the expectations that are on Jim Harbaugh right now, and the fact that Urban, he's gone, he's not your problem now.
Yeah, but anytime you can take a shot at Ohio State, you might as well kick them when they're down. Or
not when they put up over 60 points on you last time, and then he rode off into the freaking sunset, man.
Oh, what? Urban Meyer rode off into the sunset? I would not call that riding off into the sunset.
Well, as far as the Michigan versus Ohio State, the Jim Harbaugh versus Urban Meyer thing, yeah, that dude rode off into the sunset on that one, man. They beat the hell out of Michigan. And, why do you, look, the point was, yeah, dude, Urban Meyer, and you know what? He's probably going to go coach USC, or whatever. He's probably going to get a bunch of money to do it.
Those migraines.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
the pressure on his brain. All of a sudden, that's going to disappear.
Man, I started taking these new pills, and, whew.
Feel a lot better.
It's all good now, so I gotta go coach. I'm gonna go coach somebody else. But
I made an agreement with my wife that I would not put too much pressure on myself, and that I would delegate to my staff, and there would not be as much pressure on me. My wife and I made an agreement that I would not put this much stress on me. I could take this job.
Exactly. But look, if you're Jim Harbaugh, how about you just keep that dude's name out of your mouth completely?
I don't know.
Until you get a chance. Until you play USC in the Rose Bowl, man, then start talking trash about him. And
so it's okay to say it then?
After you beat him in the Rose Bowl is what I was.
But so he's asked a question. Is he just not supposed to answer it?
He answer it, but
what I think is funny.
Why light a fire?
What I think is funny.
Light a fire?
As coaches never
who?
say anything.
Who is he lighting a fire under? Urban Meyer? Who gives a damn?
Media, social media, America.
Oh no, they don't play social media. They're not playing social media in the horseshoe. I don't care.
He got his ass kicked, and it just looks bad. It's bad optics to me, man. Don't even talk about Urban Meyer. Hey, what do you think about Urban Meyer? I don't think nothing about it. Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking about this season. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about Notre Dame. I'm thinking about this Ohio State team. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about this season. Urban Meyer isn't coaching right now. He's not on my radar. Say that.
But we always say that. We always interview coaches, and we get mad when they don't say anything. They say, "Oh, this is this. We're going to stick to the game plan. We look at it 1 week at a time." And then when they finally say something, we trash them for when they say something.
I'm not trashing them for saying. I'm saying
it's a lose-lose situation.
What's the point of bringing it up? He knows. He didn't bring it up. He knows what he said.
He was asked a question, and he gave his honest answer, which is kind of true, which is a true answer.
Everybody knows
was what he said. Was what he said wrong?
No,
at all.
If someone asks me a true comment, I'm going to give a true answer.
And he said he started off by saying that he was a great coach. That he had great performances, the way his teams were phenomenal on the field.
Why does he have to give a reason for the Ohio State fan base to throw it all back in the Michigan fan base face?
They don't need a reason. They're going to do it anyways, and they have all the ammo to do it.
So why throw a twig on the fire? Whatever. Maybe
what difference does it make? Yeah. He was asked a question. He answered it honestly, and what he said was true. I don't have a problem with it. I think this thing is getting way overblown. Yeah. So what if he was 1-3? Would have been okay? If he only lost by 3 points last year? Well, because he gave up 62 points, he shouldn't be. Well, they lost by 3? Well, I guess it's okay to say. Who cares? He was asked a question. He answered it honestly.
I'm mad that Urban Meyer beat Jim Harbaugh 4 times in a row. That pisses me off from the front. And then just
there's nothing we can do about it now.
Just let it. Just don't add fuel to the fire. I guess that's what I'm saying. But
fuel to what fire?
the Ohio State-Michigan fire, man, and that Urban Meyer is better than Jim Harbaugh.
God forbid we add a little more juice to the rivalry. The greatest rivalry in sports. Why add a little juice?
It's just reason for look, you got beat 4 times. You can't come at him like that. Jim Harbaugh has no.
Oh no! Jim Harbaugh might have a little bit more pressure on him this year to beat Ohio State because of what he said to Urban Meyer.
He can't hear what I'm saying.
I hear exactly what you're saying.
Why do it? Why do it? If you're Jim Harbaugh, why do it?
Because he was asked a question, he answered it honestly. What difference does it make?
You could choose your words wisely. Because he got his ass kicked, man. And now he can't even do the rebuttal because now he's gone. So why not just say, hey, you know what? Next question. He's gone. Next question. It just
because why not take a little bit away from it? Why not take a little bit away from Ohio State?
Is there any controversy behind the fact that what happened on that? I'm just so pissed off about the last game.
Be upset about that. Be upset that they gave up over 60 points. So what? Totally be upset about that.
And is that Harbaugh? There's some. Is he saying? Well, maybe if Urban Meyer didn't have so much controversy around him, maybe we would have won that game.
That's not what he said at all.
It sounds like it, man.
No, it doesn't.
It sounds like he beat our asses 4 years in a row, but he's always leaving controversy around. So maybe it's a little tainted.
Like every fan has said for the last 10 years about Urban Meyer. He's an incredible coach. Has won all these games. But man, what an a-hole! What a terrible person!
When
how much
the losing head coach says it, it's different.
Then fine, Tom. Let's just get rid of all media then. Let's never talk to any coach or any player ever again because they can't say anything.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not allowed to talk. Well, you know what? You can only say something about another player or another coach, even if it's completely 100% factual. Don't say anything negative about anybody else unless you have won every single game on your schedule or unless you have a winning record against that guy you're going to talk about. Don't answer any questions about a guy that you have a losing record against. Are we going to give these manuals to all these players and coaches now? Like, hey, you can only talk about this guy, this guy, and this guy because we have winning record against them.
They do that already. They have media. They have people that they pay a lot of money that come in here and talk to these coaches and players and say, this is how you talk to the media. This is how you answer questions. This has been going on forever.
Yeah, that's more about don't talk about political stuff and stuff like that. But when you're asked about another coach in your profession or another player in your profession and you answer it honestly and factually, what's wrong with that? And you have to say, well, you know what? You got a losing record against him, so don't talk negatively about him. That's to me, that's absolutely ridiculous and stupid. And if that's the way we're gonna go with this stuff now, then let's just get rid of it all. Let's get rid of all interviews because they can't. You complain about them not talking factually or them dancing around things. But then when they actually say things and they're truthful and factual. Well, you shouldn't have said that because, you know what, you lose against him all the time, so you shouldn't talk negatively about him. That is so stupid to me.
It's not, all right, I hear what you're saying.
You can't have it both ways.
This is a very specific situation. Jim Harbaugh was brought in here and paid big money to beat Urban Meyer. And he got his ass kicked 4 years in a row.
No, he didn't get his ass kicked every time. He should have won the second game.
He got 4-0. He doesn't have a W against him. And he didn't. Here I am talking against my favorite coach, the coach of my favorite team. I'm just mad about it. It just irritates me that Harbaugh didn't beat Urban Meyer.
That's fine. Okay? Be upset about that. You should absolutely be upset.
And
about
yes,
that.
it's kind of controversial. Everything he said is correct.
Then what's the problem?
Just don't say it, man.
Be upset about the record.
Don't give him.
Be upset about how he performed.
Don't make it sound like. I don't know, man. You're right, but man, he should have just left it alone. Is what I'm saying. He should have left it alone and keep Urban Meyer out of the picture because you know what? You don't got to worry about Urban. You got to worry about Ryan O'Day, whatever his freaking name. Who cares about that team down south anyway? I just want to beat them.
Is this even going to be talked about when they play Ohio State?
No,
it's going to be long forgotten. He answered the question. He answered it truthfully and honestly. And it obviously is not going to be that big of a controversy because it's not even going to be talked about when the game is played. So he got his last statement on. They asked him about Urban Meyer. He gave his final statement on Urban Meyer and what his thoughts are. He said he was an incredible coach, but controversy always follows him. Like everybody says about Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh just said it about him too.
But what about a sense of awareness of your situation? If you're Jim Harbaugh...
Okay, let's talk about that. I think we've talked about this enough. We've talked about this enough. I think we've both gotten our points. We can keep battling it. But you talk about a sense of awareness, and I want to take that somewhere, okay?
Okay.
A sense of awareness of Jim Harbaugh having a sense of awareness of what his program is, where he is, where Michigan football is right now. And he had a sense of awareness that said, when they got their asses kicked by Ohio State, gave up 62 points, and realized that their offense couldn't match that offense, right? They couldn't do it. He had a sense of awareness, okay, I got to make some changes. We can beat up on the Indianas and the Illinois and the Marylands and the Rutgers of the world. We can beat up on those teams. We can run, two tight ends, fullbacks, all this different stuff, power Michigan football from the 80s. You can do that against those teams because they can't match up to you physically. But then when you match up against a team physically, like an Ohio State, like Penn State, Michigan State, Iowa, Wisconsin, they're not winning those big games. And they're not winning those big games consistently, and they're damn sure not beating Ohio State. So they realized we can't do this anymore. If we want to be with the big dogs, we want to be a top 10 football team consistently. We want to win Big Ten championships. We want to compete with the Alabamas and the Clemsons.
Get in the playoffs.
We have to change who we are. And they went out and got Josh Gaddis.
Yes.
And they're changing who they are offensively, and they're changing who they are as a philosophy. And Jim Harbaugh had to check his ego at the door and say, I got to make changes. Yep. And he did it. And I respect the hell out of him for that because I can't imagine he really, truly wanted to do that. Because not what this offense is going to be, that's not who Jim Harbaugh is. That's not that's not the game he played. He played in the mid-'80s for Michigan. He played for Bo. This isn't the style of offense that he's used to or is comfortable with. Mm-hmm. But he's making those changes because he knows to get Michigan to that next level, that upper echelon, the top programs in the country, he had to make this change. And he's bringing in Josh Gaddis, a young, offensive mind from Alabama who's going to make changes to this football team. And he's going to do the best, take advantage of all their talent and get these guys in space and get the ball to talented players in space, which is what you have to do in college football.
We'll play devil's advocate here, man. I'm going to just throw out a name for you. DJ Durkin.
What about DJ Durkin?
Isn't that kind of the same thing he tried to do with DJ Durkin? And then DJ Durkin had his successful year, and then he went to Maryland, and then it all went to hell, and now...
Not really.
Is there any type of...
well, for one, DJ Durkin's on the defense side of the ball.
Yeah, but he brought in the big name. Yeah, he brought in the big name, and...
DJ Durkin was
he was a pretty big name. He was with Florida. He was a hot name in coaching. And then he was only here for 1-2 years. Then he took over Maryland, and now he's like a pariah in college football because of what happened at Maryland when he took over.
I think that's kind of apples and oranges here. I don't know what you're trying to compare.
Just bringing in names is what I'm saying.
This isn't about names, Tom. This is about changing who they are as an offense. It's changing their whole philosophy. They're not. They're going completely. They're going to be totally 4 wide receiver, 5 wide receiver. All this spread, a lot of rollouts with Shea Patterson. It's a different style.
This isn't just Harbaugh bringing in a hot name, but he's still in complete control.
It's not. He's stated time and again that he is giving up full control to Gaddis. And the past few years that Harbaugh's been here, they've had 2 coordinators. They've had a run coordinator and a pass coordinator. Gaddis is the offensive coordinator. He is the play caller.
He's playing the call. He's
calling the plays. There will be decisions where Harbaugh makes the decision. There might be a time here and there, situationally, where Harbaugh says, I really want this play right here. I think this play is going to work here. But Gaddis is the offense coordinator. One offense coordinator calling the plays is Josh Gaddis. And that is a complete philosophy change from what Harbaugh's been since he's been here. And that's the difference. And we're going to see if it takes them to the next level. And then we're going to see if these talented players that they have, we're going to really see these talented receivers and these talented running backs really play the way we think they can play. I think it's going to make a difference. I really do. And the last thing I'm going to say, and we can finish this up.
We can.
This has to be the year. This has to be the year they win the Big Ten East. It has to be, because they have Michigan State at home, they have Ohio State at home, and they have Notre Dame at home. Notre Dame, it's not going to be as much of a factor, but in terms of making the playoffs, okay? This has to be.
Dame's a good
factor in terms of, I'm talking about just winning the Big Ten East.
But
in terms of winning, getting the playoffs.
We're talking going to.
But all these games, all these big games are at home. Yeah. Ohio State, Urban Meyer's gone. They have a new coach at Ohio State. All these games are at home. It has to be the year. Shea Patterson's stepping into his second year. They have a new offense coordinator. It's Harbaugh's, fifth year now? It has to happen.
It's his team. It's his quarterback.
It has to happen.
These wide, there's so many weapons, man. We're worried about the running game a little bit, but man,
they always have a.
They always talk about position you, like LSU is defensive back you, and Alabama's running back you, and you go on and on, And I see these lists, man. But Michigan always has running backs, dude. So they need. And the offensive line, too. Michigan has always got offensive linemen, man. But you're right, man. The schedule lines up. Everything lines up. And it's time to win. It's time to really, really win. All right. With that said, let's wrap this up. Maybe next week we'll get to Michigan State. But maybe we'll talk a little bit more hockey too, man. We'll get the Michigan State minute in. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the Detroit Sports Sit Down. We are back. We are back full force. You got me and Dan yelling at each other. You haven't heard that in a minute. Oh, it feels good. It feels good to be talking about sports. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't even know really what we were going to talk about. We were just going to talk about how bad Detroit sports are right now. But look, Detroit is the best sports town in America. It still is. Our teams will get back, and we're going to be talking about it regardless, whether they're good or bad. We'll find things to talk about. So I want to give a big thank you to Joe and to Dan for hanging with me to talk some sports. And we will be back. We're going to be back every week, because it's just about football time. And that's what we really do. We like basketball. We like baseball. We like hockey. We love football, baby. We love football, and we are back. We are back. This is the Detroit Sports Sit Down. Peace.